What's the cringiest thing you've witnessed someone do that made you lose all faith in humanity? I wish I was making this story up, but unfortunately I'm not. It was so bad that I have to share it with you guys. One day, I decided to pop into my favorite cafe and regretted it instantly. This guy, probably in his mid-40s, wearing a stained No. 1 dad t-shirt that hadn't seen a wash in who knows how long, was being really loud, almost as though he'd forgotten how to speak at a normal volume. His hair was greasy and it smelled like he hadn't showered in days. However, it was his actions that really made me sick to my stomach. He marched up to the counter and started ordering, but instead of just ordering, he yelled at the young woman behind the register like she was the one who'd ruined his life. "Yeah, can I get the burger but without the bun? I can't eat carbs, you know, I'm on a diet," he bellowed, as though he was giving a TED talk on health and fitness. "And make sure to add extra bacon. Bacon's basically a vegetable, right? Ha ha." The poor girl nodded politely, obviously trying to hold it together, but this man wasn't done. "Oh, and I want the sauce on the side," he said, making exaggerated air quotes with his fingers. "I'm allergic to processed sugar. You know, health problems, right?" She nodded again, clearly doing everything she could not to engage further, but he wasn't having it. He leaned in close, his face an inch from hers. "I hate the way people try to push carbs on me, you know," he went on. "Like, what's wrong with you people? You're all trying to kill me with this garbage." I could hear the people around me starting to shift uncomfortably. His voice was rising in pitch, and he was making no effort to be discreet. But then, he went full-on insane. "You know what? I think the whole kitchen needs a retraining," he shouted. "This place is a dump. Do you even know what cleanliness is? I bet you've never had a cleaning plan in your life." The poor woman, behind the counter blinked, trying to stay professional, but at this point, the man's rant had escalated to a point of no return. Then, as if trying to assert his dominance over the entire room, he casually spat on the floor near the counter, as though it was some kind of statement. It wasn't like a little "oops, I accidentally spat" kind of thing. Oh no, this was a full-on glob of spit, landing with a sickening splat on the tiled floor. The cafe went silent and my eyes widened in disbelief. Was this real life? Did this actually just happen? I could hear some muffled laughter from the other customers, but it was the awkward kind, like they wanted to laugh, but also didn't want to be the next target of this lunatic's rage. The girl, now looking visibly shaken but still somehow holding it together, handed him his food. He snatched it from her with a snarl and stomped off to a table. I thought that would be the end of it, but I was wrong. This man proceeded to take his burger and aggressively smash it down onto his table, somehow getting mustard all over the place in the process. But instead of eating like a normal person, he started shoving the burger into his mouth like a wild animal, chewing loudly and messily, bits of lettuce and tomato spilling out of the sides. He began to lick the mustard off the table with his tongue. Like, full on, no shame, licking the crumbs and condiments off the table like it was some kind of bizarre competition. His eyes were wide and unblinking as he did it, like he was in his own personal world, unaware, or uncaring, that every single person in that cafe was now witnessing a full-blown breakdown of human decency. A woman nearby covered her mouth with her hand. Another man just stared in horrified fascination. I, too, was frozen in place, my brain struggling to process what was happening. At some point, a manager appeared, probably to defuse the situation, but it was clear that the man wasn't having any of it. He stood up abruptly, throwing his hands in the air and shouting, "You're all a bunch of sheep, you know that? I'm the only one WHO knows what's real in this place." Finally, after what felt like an eternity, he stormed out, leaving behind a chaotic mess of chips, condiments, and spit, and the rest of us in stunned silence. The staff quickly began cleaning up, and the woman behind the counter who had endured the brunt of it all just let out a deep sigh, shaking her head. I walked up to her to pay for my meal, and I gave her a sympathetic smile. To witness that level of madness, that kind of disconnected, mindless behavior, it was like watching a human being turn into something less than human. It was gross. It was wild. It was the cringiest thing I had ever seen, and it made me wonder how we ever got here in the first place. If this was the new norm, I thought, then maybe we're all just one bad day away from becoming that guy.